Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to our You'll Never Walk Alone WhatsApp group and YouTube channel. Okay, so this is our World Cup specials for the World Cup, obviously, because of the season's over. I said I would do and review England and Wales as far as they go, and I'll also give notable mentions to Senegal, who are my African team that I'm going to be hoping that do really, really well this year as well. Okay, so it was England 6, Iran 2. Okay, look, the only famous thing about Iran was their manager. We sort of knew him, Carlos Cortez, or whatever his name is. He was the assistant manager at Manchester United back in the day, and he's managed Portugal and a few other teams, I think. So he knows his stuff, but this is a poor team. I don't know how the fuck they're in the top 20 of the world. The World Cup is meant to be the pinnacle of football. That's what they used to call it. Like when you got to the World Cup, the best of the best were playing in the World Cup. But Iran proves that's bollocks. You're trying to tell me that Norway is not as good as Iran, who didn't get there. So you can see it's just geographically they've let a load of teams that shouldn't be there in it, and that's why the Champions League is the best thing in football after the Premier League, because the World Cup is full of bluffers and bullshit artists and thieves and criminals, and Iran are not very good, if I'm being honest, and they just. It's like watching Stoke City in the World Cup. Anyway, let's get on to the match. So England, first 35 minutes, and Iran, it was probably the worst football I've ever seen. England were lethargic and giving Iran way too much respect. And Iran couldn't get the ball. The place was going crazy if Iran got past the halfway line. So, obviously geographically, they'd be very close neighbours. So, once Jude Bellingham opened the scoring, it was just a rout then. So it was Bellingham, Saka got 2, Sterling got 1, Rashford got 1, Grealish got 1. But as I said, it was cruise control once Bellingham got the goal. How far will this England team go? So hard to predict against a really poor team. Obviously Wales and America will give them more of a game. So, they drew 1-1. I'll do a review on that. But, yeah, I think we'd have to see England against a half-decent team. Look, we know they have 2 or 3 players for every position. And, he started with Trippier, but, he's got Alexander-Arnold on the bench as well. There's just so much. There's so many players that can come into this England team and do a job for Southgate. I think, honestly, and I've said this before, England have the team to win this thing, but they don't have the coach. I think Gareth Southgate is the luckiest manager to have ever walked professional football grass. He was a very lucky footballer to ever play the game. He was so average. And now he's managed somehow to get a hold of the best England side of a generation to a World Cup. Now, a few critics will turn around and say, well, he got them to finals, he's got them to the last 3 of the last World Cup. Yeah, but look at the players he's got. Look at the fucking players he has to pick from. There's been way better England managers who would die for them players. So, we'll see. I'm not going to shit on England. They won, and they won convincingly. So let's see. I want to reserve I can see that it's coming home being sung already, but let's just see how they go against a team that's actually going to put up a little bit of resistance. I think the most worrying thing for England is that they conceded fucking 2 goals. Pickford is going to be a problem. I don't think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he's the weak link. I think Harry Maguire is the weak link at the back. As it proved, it was his fault for one of their goals. And I think Gareth Southgate. So for all the good things that England have, I think there's 3 obvious people that could fuck it for them, in my opinion. Either Pickford, Southgate, or Maguire is going to cause England to go out at some point, I reckon. Take your pick of who. Anyway, I will do a players review, and I will review the Wales game next. This is the England versus Iran player ratings for England. I've already done a review, so check that out. Like and hit the subscribe button. Okay, so we are. I think he went for a 4-3-3. So Pickford in goal. Pickford gets a 6. It was his fault for one of the goals. He's a. Of all the goalkeepers they could have went with, I know Southgate goes with loyalty and he's done well for them, but I think he could be a problem. Anyway, we'll see how he goes. Trippier 7, decent performance from him. He's had a good season with Newcastle. Stones 7, he looked pretty good too. Maguire 6, his fault for the goal as always. I actually tipped him to score an own goal. He's useless. Shaw 8. He was pretty good for England. Gave them a lot of. It was everything that was good came from the left hand side. Him and Sacco, and even Mason Mount linked up quite well on that side. Into midfield, you had Bellingham, Rice, and Mount. We're going to give Declan Rice a 7. I thought he was good at protecting the back four, but there was no real resistance from Iran. Bellingham gets a 9, and my man of the match. I think he changed the game for England. For the first 35 minutes, it was looking really scrappy until he got the goal, settled him down. But what a player he is. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him to perform every time he comes out, and his value is just going up by the day. Then they went with 3 up front with Sacco, Kane, and Sterling. I'm going to give Harry Kane a 7. I'm going to give Sacco a 9. And I'm going to give Sterling an 8. Sacco could have got man of the match. He got 2 goals, but I'm going to give it to Bellingham, just because he's just a generational talent, I think, and he's going to make the difference to this England team. If they're to go far in this tournament, they need him to play well. I'll give Gareth Southgate a 7. The first 35 minutes, I think he would have been panicking, because I would have been panicking. Iran are no good team at all. This is the whipping boys of the World Cup. And he proved it with the scoreline, but for the first 35 minutes it didn't look that way. So he gets a 7. I think England play USA next. Much better opposition to get a better idea of where they're going to be. They obviously got a credible draw against Wales. I didn't expect that. I thought Wales would smash them 2 or 3-0, if I was being honest. I didn't rate the Americans at all. Maybe I'll have to go back on that a little bit, because I thought they were really good. Anyway, that's another game. But yeah, look, they've got America next. It's going to be a better class of opposition, but I still expect them to cruise to a win. But yeah, so that's the next game for England. The expectations will mount now once they start taking a few teams to the sword. So we'll see how they go. But yeah, decent result. Good performance after 35 minutes to 90. But again, you could see Maguire cost them a goal. Pickford wasn't great at the back. You can see how they're going to leak goals. Against a better side than Iran, they could get punished a lot more. So we'll see how they go. But look, congratulations to England, commiserations to Iran. If I was the Iranian players, I wouldn't even unpack my suitcase. Yous are going home early. Just leave your shit in the bag. Yous will be going home after the group matches. I would be shocked if you get a point. Alright, that's it. On to Wales, America next. And I'll see you for the next England game.